I'm going to test out a volatility breakout system, non-directional. And this is just nothing but a range bar, and I guess literally no analysis, blind mechanical trading. The only caveat is that I've got the I've set 10 pip grid. You're only allowed to pull the trigger when the market spends, say, 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes that you're in a 10 pip range, you're going to place an order that lasts, say, 15 minutes, half hour, 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. You cannot pull the trigger. You cannot. You can't hit the hotkey and drop the order script unless the criteria is met. So this is a filter. This is a volatility strategy, non-directional. And so this thing will stop and reverse on you automatically. Now the 15-minute chart, your buy stops would be stacking up here. You didn't get filled on your sells. You went long. You scalped out at least 10 pips. You need to have at least a break even in there, or a risk 5 to make 10. And then you maybe took the rest off. Now when it gets loud like this, you either let it play out to the climax point. You could still do some crude analysis here, right? It's not like you can't. But we don't want to get too. We don't want to have an opinion. This is a non-opinion strategy. It's all about the market's quiet. Now we can't trade now, but hopefully we went short here on this breakout. All this garbage. Now this is like a Zen trading technique. But still, in other words, you just have to wait for the market to get quiet. Now, here the market got quiet, and you had to put in your static breakout non-directional. You made money on the short side, right? Now, you are long here just on static breakout. Made a higher high. You can't trade here, unfortunately. There are no trades. Hopefully you cashed out of everything up into the support level. Or you hand-placed orders. But I'm going to run this damn thing. I'm going to call this volatility breakout system. But you do have to keep pulling the trigger when it gets in, because I don't know how to build an EA that's going to place my stops with an elaborate money management built in, where I'm going to take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pips, right? Maybe I just take 40 pips. So it's like, say, 10 orders in there, right? It scales out in 5 pip increments. Tight stop, hard stop on either side of the market. We don't care. We just don't care about direction. All we care about is volatility. And this is like, I'm going to call this volatility breakout system, but it's really like if you were to have a strict trading plan that you kept track of. Now, I don't think, I wish I could get an EA. Wish I could build an EA for this. If anybody's got an EA, just let me have it, please. But for the moment, I'm just going to actually treat it like, I can get an alarm, I suppose, but I think I can do a visual on this. I can also place, it doesn't mean that I can't place structural orders at the same time, but I'm going to let this volatility bot, I'm going to trade around it. It's running. I'm running those scripts, but I'm also running my hand-placed structural orders. That makes sense from a non-blind standpoint, right? And this is going to be like more of the money map. This is a top. I can put a buy limit here, a tight stop. I could put a sell limit up here because of that, right? But I also realized that the only range bot trade was here. In other words, the only qualifier was this quiet bar here for a stop entry. So I could have punched the hotkey right there. Market's quiet, hit the hotkey. You drop just a clunky, good old-fashioned breakout system. Now this is your entry here, right? You had half hour to get long. Not get long, just place in your stops. You're going to bracket this thing, so it's only going to trigger if the market moves 5 pips up or 5 pips down or 8 pips up, 8 pips down. It's an elaborate breakout system. It works. It has worked. It works here. Look at here. Enter. You don't care. But what you do care about is how you manage the take profits on this. Now, you can add to the long position at this point because of just structural issues, right? This top became the bottom. You have a pending here. Here, you went non-directional entry on these guys. You got trapped there, but we could always come ripping back at any minute. We're just about ready to pull the trigger on the volatility bot right about now. It's getting quiet. It's a problem. You still have to wait every 15 minutes. So it's really quite a patience contest. You get a 15-minute quiet bar, you can pull that script, but this whole time here, you can't touch it, right? And like I said, hopefully you're cashing out on stuff. And this is the step, you can't trade that one either. This is the step back and wait factor of trading. I guess this would be almost like a, if you can just see that there's not a lot of windows to get on this puppy, right? You're not getting any, it's not calming down enough for you to even pull the trigger right there. Maybe you could have pulled the volatility bot here. Now the volatility bot might get a little chopped up at this point, but you're gonna have to like, okay, end of the session. Okay, now this is where they're gonna try to trap the volatility bot because you're coming into the session endings. So maybe you step back from it. Okay, now you launch it right now, and you just go. It's going either way, right? Don't want to. You want to let it fill. Now it filled to the south side there. Now you have to wait for a quiet zone, right? Now, even if you got chopped up a little bit, think about it. Even if you sold, even if you launched them here because you met the criteria of being quiet, you're up, right? And then you launched it again, you're making money. Now, this is very chaotic. This is a strategy where here you would have launched him here, right? Because you got quiet bars, but look at this volume now. You can't trade now. So that worked out. In other words, you cashed out on this, and then you relaunched him here. He went the other way. And, but this is something you're going to have to look at every 15 minutes. Right. Well, of course, after a big explosion like this, we can kind of almost assume it's going to take a while to calm down. So our windows of opportunity are only going to be really on the sessions coming out of the close of the previous session, and we have to have a que sera attitude about it. But we can also trade around it with the buy limits here at the previous contention point. And he had a trade here where he got chopped to death. Now, if you strictly kept to that rule, the entry was here, right? They went up, they went down. Now it's a little chaotic. Like I said, you're only really timing that strategy is going to be typically. I guess you could have got in here, right? So you had a quiet part here on the pullback. You had this window here, so a little chopped up there, but he made money here. Then you dropped him again here. Okay, he's making money. He bought the breakout here. Now you're caught in this 10 pip range. They trapped him here, but he made money on the upside. It's really entails dropping in other words, if the orders last for say 4 hours, the ones that you dropped here are still valid and they're stacking up. So it's going to get in heavier. And maybe you're going to run it like this. So if you went to the, in other words, if this is too much trading for you, you would just go to the half hour and run the same strategy. I'm going to put in this this grid here and set the grid whatever you can afford, 10 pips, right? So anytime you're in a 10 pip range on the half hour, you're going to drop it. So you would have got filled here on the short side, and you would have made this many pips had you let the whole thing ride, and not, you can't pull the trigger here, right? That's not a valid. They're gonna rip your face off if you try to get in here, because you're you know, okay, you can only drop it here. This is your 10 pip quiet zone. So the continuation of that to the upside, this would have been more of a entry for the, you consider that that was the big stop hunt, right? So you're waiting for this thing to calm down, and this is the half hour. Now let's run it on the 1 hour, and this would be orders that are going to last, like, say 8 hours, right? You big stop. You're going to have to spend an hour in a 10 pip zone. Now this you're going to need to zoom in and try to find any entries. Now your filters are getting tighter, so you're not going to see that many opportunities. And this would be more the style that a conservative person would trade. You're looking for an hour where there's literally only 10 pips of movement. So here was a breakout to the upside, right? And maybe you got stopped out here. Here's a situation where the stops are stacking up on the top side because you're getting all these signals. You get this smash here, but you can't enter the market. Here was your only sell. So you were short here, and you can't trade now. You got short here. And this is also another thing if you did want to do directional trading, because in the 1 hour you can actually almost draw a valid trend line here. You're only taking your breakdown, you know, you're maybe biased. You don't have to be, because here you were short and here you went short. Maybe they stop hunted you here, but you got to have at least, some of these are, the trend ones are going to have to have a 20 pip stop built into the script with a, say, a 50 pip take profit. Like here was a quiet entry for maybe, no, that was never made it below. Here's a sell. So you made that. Maybe you have to put this grid at 20 on the 1 hour to give yourself an entry. Here's a sell. 10 pip. These two. You also had the buy though. So you get trapped on that. You lost this much, but you made that much on the volatility of that. So the market gets quiet. It goes either way. You know, it's a total doji script. You know, I think I posted one of these doji scripts, and it entails you waiting for a doji to happen or an Abana baby. So you wouldn't have ever traded that psycho blast down. Not to say you couldn't have dropped it on the 5 minute and punched the key because you got a narrow thing. But now, I mean, you can't be doing that sell stop strategy like that. I mean, they're just going to rape you all over the mat. Chew on fire with the step aside. But certainly for the limit entry guys, you know, once it goes into heat mode like this is what I'm thinking. Drop some sell limits up here, right? Drop some sell limits up here. Put some buy limits down here. Now I'm going to step way wide. I'm going to trade super wide away from every current price. Okay, they're filling the sell limits up here. And you can't touch it with the volatility guy. Now that's just that they just blew that out. So now it's going maybe to the end of the world, right? Now you're thinking like throw a grid up here. I can zoom out. You see this is the place to put all your cells. So right up in the edge here. But yeah, for the volatility guy here, maybe when this got quiet here, you just didn't care whether this was gonna be support or resistance. Did it really matter? If you got money management built into the script, it just simply doesn't matter. And even here, right? You'll go either way. Right here, if you put your filter at 10 pips for the volatility breakout bot, he's getting filled here to the long side whether he likes it or not, right? This way, if you thought it was going to tank, well, guess what saved you is all the stops that you put in because you were living in a say a 20 pip window, and you just cleaned out on that blast up there. Not to say we're not going to come back and retest that, but you're not placing any orders now. You can't because the market's too insane. So stop entry works if you're below a certain pip range, but you've got to have scalps built into that puppy. You've got to have outlandish take profits built in too, and you just got to let it go, right? And you have to have the faith that when a market's quiet for too long, something's up. And all the money you can make from it's quiet here, something's up. But when it comes back for this retest, you can still trade around it. So you can have the volatility idea, plus you've got the buy the last known support. So even though this strategy made money, you come underneath with the buy limit here for the retest, the limit entry, right? Still doing it. Now the session's coming to a close. Now maybe it's time to think about going into volatility mode breakout. And when it gets to the when a triangle forms, we drop the triangle order, right? And so maybe if it can calm down here, we're going to drop the triangle order. Oh no, look, it's coming back. So if your buy limits are sitting on this triple top down here, it just got filled on that scalp. Hopefully you scalp because it looks like it's going to come all the way back to China. But your volatility bot would have been, he would have gone long here and he would have gone short here, right? And that's just, using visual cue for volatility off of this pip grid, but you could also have an alarm. I suppose this is the entry for the bulls is previous support right now. They're scalping off of that, most likely. And your volatility bot is getting ready to get in at some point when this thing calms down. We'll see that they're going to date rape it all the way back to here now. So this is the, I think I'm playing back the same thing I did in the other one. And this is the where I just bought all the way down, right? Bought all the way down to China on limits, but the volatility bot's not involved here. So being able to have a backup strategy is a really good idea. And if it's only on one of your accounts, you don't necessarily have to have it trading. But I'm gonna launch this with real money on a 5 pip stop. So it's going to be a script that looks like, well, it's going to look like this. If I go into my scripts, and it's called bracket. So this is my doji script, and it's just going to get in as the thing breaks out. Well, actually, it's not really the same kind of bracket, but actually it'd be buy stop here, right? But imagine 10 orders like this that break out if it goes up 5 pips above. Right here is 2 pips or 20 if you're on a... And it's got all the it's got a scalp here. It's got a 10 pip stop on the whole thing. So it's going to be a it's just going to keep every time, right? And let's set the time on this. So as you're dropping it, imagine in the real world, this is what's going to look like. You keep every hour, you keep punching it, and it lasts for say 8 hours, or it lasts for an hour, and you just keep punching it, right? And when the first sell-off, it's got a 10 pip stop hard, and it's getting in when it takes out 5 pips to the downside. So it's passive entry. It goes with order flow. No market orders, no limits, pure stop. But you know that. When you hit that button, you know what style that is. You know it's going to buy here, right? It's going to buy here just by the sheer fact that it's been an hour under 10 pips. And you could care less whether or not this is a continuation triangle to the downside or this is a role reversal pullback to previous support. You just don't care. And it just made 10 pips out of the gate, 20, hopefully 30s built into that. And now maybe they're stopping you out. And if these orders are still valid, that's why if this is a 1 hour chart, you want your orders to only last maybe a max of 3 hours or 1 hour, because otherwise they're going to start filling you on these. And maybe that's not so bad because look at it just breaking down, right? And that's another thing. If all these orders are still standing, they last 8 hours. Of course, actually about 8 hours up, right? Or if they last all day, it takes this fractal out. These guys are geniuses, right? But my volatility bot's not involved in any of this sell-off right now. It's more about thinking in terms of, well, where the hell are they taking that to? Well, they're probably taking it down to this wick. So I want to scalp off of that for 30, 10, 20, 30 pips, right? Now maybe this is the floor, but you still can't get in if you're going to keep this to a 10 pip window. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have orders that you could set for a 20 pip grid volatility entry, but then you're destroying the idea of volatility, right? The expansion of volatility from 10 pips to 40 pips, you're already zipped like a zipper. You've scaled out of that whole, boom, you're gone. Just like this, if you set it for a 20 pip, you would have just taken your 40 pips and be out. Now the 10 pip, now you're dropping the volatility bot right here, or the volatility thing. And if this is a real breakout, then you just get picked up in it, right? Of course, you have to have those scalps built in because we're probably going to maybe plunge to the bottom of the day. But that you're over with that strategy. And that was your volatility breakout entry of the day. And if you wanted to get in on a pullback here, because now you're going to think in terms of, I'm going to run a 20 pip stop on limits that are going to be a retest of the breakout. And I'm going to try to get picked up on this closing time, swing low in time that gave me this wonderful bottom. Boom, bam, right? And my target exits here, so now I'm not blind trading it. I'm just visually saying, yeah, we got to get out of here, or maybe sell there. If we sell there on a limit for a scalp down into here, my target exit has to be down here. Now the volatility bot could have got in here. That was the 8 session. We could have blindly dropped it. It was under 10 pips, and we're short just because. Just because. Now, it had the potential to get filled on buy stops there, but it did not fill. Here, it filled short only. And it didn't matter. So this thing's making some money. Not tradable right now, but it made money. You can see the path, the history. Now we're getting to a point where maybe we can drop the bot, drop that script. Probably not. This is probably going to be, it was a smash and grab to a support. Now the scalpers are going to cash out here. And this is one of those, that's what it looks like when you have a head and a shoulder. So yeah, the daredevils that got in here, which I must say I'm one, I love to buy down there for the scalp. The sellers came in here. They think that's a real breakout. That's their confirmation entry. Now they're going to sell. And the volatility bot's about to get on board something here. And it's just going to let the order flow dictate. It hasn't gotten quiet enough yet. We're going to probably have to wait to the end of the day. So this is just going to be a static, non-directional entry. Technically, you would have gotten, if you would have dropped it here, you had 1 hour of quiet, another hour of quiet, another hour, you're dropping them. You're getting stopped out of some of these, but you're mostly long now, whether you like it or not. You keep dropping the volatility bot here, now you're long again. Hopefully you're scalping out of some of this, and this was the last time you could have placed the volatility bot. Now it's obvious. You have to step aside, wait for these sell limits to get filled potentially, and now you're going to go into retest, thinking about putting buy limits down here now for possible retest. You may not get it. You got it here. You got this nice pullback to the time pivot breakout, and now I hope maybe you're riding it up into this thing, and yeah, that's how that would work. And of course, here is a retest entry. I think I'm still in the Canadian dollar. That was the ripe entry for the scalp, and possibly to pick up more orders for a push through the top here. And again, we're coming back, and then again. But now the volatility bot has not taken any trades. Maybe it took this sell here because, see, I got quiet here, but this is not quite a 10 pip window. So maybe you have to fine tune that just to maybe put up a 15 pip grid, which is also possible. But see, this is almost 10 pip bar. It would have gone short for the psycho plunge, and you would have cleaned up. Now it would go long here, and it would go mostly short here. Now it just went long. It's taking a little bit of heat here. If you go to a strict formula of you're only going to get in here. But if you wait every hour to punch it, it's going to do this. It's going to put in trailing. If you can imagine, it's going to do this: buy stop, buy stop, buy stop, sell stop, sell stop. It's going to get trapped, but then it's going to make it all back. It never fills on these to the south side. It fills mostly here, but here's a 30 pip window. You're running a 10 pip stop. So as it's getting stopped out of the longs, I mean, out of these shorts, right? Because as it comes up, it's crushing these, but you're making it back, and it's not allowed to trade now. It just has to let the rest of this play out. And here was another chance to get long. If you had a stop entry, you need the market to be quiet to try and trade it like that. Not to say you couldn't have a buy limit there, but now it's too loud now to get in anything. Zooming out, waiting for it to get quiet. Not something I like to do. Is waiting is not fun, but you just have to let it play out. You figure, you know what, maybe today we're gonna go up. You still got your buy limit here, and you still got a buy limit here based on structure entry, and hopefully you're scalping out of some of that, and the rest maybe you let ride because you think, well, you know what, maybe this is the last chance to get long. Still waiting for it to get quiet. It's too much drama. So we're coming in this session close again. And maybe you got short here because this is under 10 pips, and if they filled you, now let's take a little look at this forensically before it goes any further. Is strictly speaking, you would be short now. Your buy stop stacking up. You are short from this 2-hour entry here. And the next signal is going to be here. You're going to place a stop entry. You get filled. They take you down. You know you're going to get, you can see what's going to happen. You're going to get stopped out of this. But you've got buy stops here. Now, every hour that goes by, you may even have another platform running that only enters when we get into a 5 pips in an hour. And that is a scalp entry. And it's designed to exploit this from a breakout standpoint, or it could actually be putting on a buy limit, say, if you want to split your order, right? You could still have one of those being, but it's really, everything's a tight stop, non-directional. Let me just take a look at the, okay, now we came down here, you made money on that. And here it didn't qualify. It was too many pips per. It's too many pips per. I must have hit the wrong key here. I think it's crashed the platform. And you can't trade it here from a volatility entry standpoint, but you're selling it from a support and resistance standpoint. Swing trading it off this high. Took a little heat here, but if you were doing a wick stop out entry without confirmation, you would have sold that for a 30 pip win. And fair value's back in here, so you're always going to think about getting in on limits down here. So really you're going to get in. This system only works, I would say, coming into the Asian session just before Europe opens, and maybe if after a capitulation move, there's another entry window here, but maybe that's going to be on the 15-minute chart, right? But look how the structure entry here of buying this previous triangle kind of barely got filled there is a great trade from that standpoint. And now here comes the volatility bot. This is a painful trade for people that have been burned on a stop entry, but realizing that this is 10 pips, this qualifies as your entry here, you're long. This qualifies as a pull the trigger. Here you get trapped, right? So let's face it, this is the downside of volatility breakout blind trading. Of course, if the robot's trading, you know, he can't see. So he's going to do say this trade here, he's going to get trapped in this, but he makes up for it because he's long from back here on this breakout, plus he's long on this, and if he scalped out of this and still has some lingering orders, they're still piled up in his, depending on how many times you hit the button and how fat you wrote the script. So loading the wagon is always dangerous. And in other words, here is an entry that this almost qualifies as a 10 pip thing, and amazingly he went long. He went with the order flow, but that's a real Zen concept, order flow entry, and only entering during quiet time. So I'm going to try to run this on the a demo and a real account, and I'm going to write the script up there. I guess it's really I'd say it's kind of like a doji script or a triangle. Anytime you see a triangle, the apex of a triangle, or anytime you see the market under 10 pips, you're just going to go with the flow, you know. It's too much to risk to go the other way, because when this is too many pips, now you're just going to get whipsawed, and they're just going to crush you because you're doing stop entry technique. But I think it's totally valid. It's totally doable when the market's quiet, you know. But you can always look at it and imagine. Of course, you can actually just trade like that, but it's kind of nice to know that you've created a trade plan that you can drop, walk away, set it and forget it. Like right here, you got long. Just got long because it was quiet. We don't know if this is going to continue this trend. It's just continuation entry technique here too. You're long. Look at, you're long just because you're in a 10 pip range. It's stupid. This is as dumb as it gets, right? You're getting long here. None of your shorts were filled, right? It's total blind turtle trading.